Hey, folks, welcome to another episode of Cutter One. I am your host, Jay, just Jay, your resident troublemaker and your resident culture warrior. I hope you're all doing well on this Monday. All right, do you like bread? Yes, I'm asking you. Do you like bread? I like bread. Rye bread, toasted bread, wheat bread, white bread. I just like bread. In sandwiches, toast, breadcrumbs. I'm sorry, I'm being goofy. All right, this article is all about bread, right? Let's get right to it. Okay, this is coming to us from the good folks over at CBR.com, and let's see what they have to say here. Let me just adjust that just a little bit so that y'all can make sure that all the words is on the screen there, so everybody's can see that. There we go. There we go. All right. Okay, it says the elves' best kept secret in the Lord of the Rings is shocking. The elves are a divine race who hold knowledge gifted by the gods. Yet one of their top secrets in The Lord of the Rings was surprisingly mundane. This is coming to us from Ben Hardwick. Elves are easily the most divine race of Middle-earth, created from its very origins, with some even surviving all the way to The Lord of the Rings. And with their status, it means they knew more secrets of Middle-earth than most, with much of their craft being imbued with powerful spells taught to them by the gods. Yet out of all their weapons, armor, jewelry, and vast library of knowledge, one of their best-kept secrets is actually bread. The elves' divine knowledge in The Lord of the Rings didn't stop with the magic and smithing. It carried over to their cooking as well. Never is an elf seen with plates of meat or shoddy-looking fruit and vegetables. They always have the freshest grown foods and recipes that can satisfy hunger for days. One such recipe is Lembas bread, a small and dense snack that aided the fellowship throughout most of the journey, and it's this bread that was one of the elves' closely guarded secrets. In The Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship was bestowed several elven gifts in the Lothlorien forest, such as the Phial of Galadriel for Frodo and the elven rope for Sam. Among their gifts was Lembas bread, a small triangular biscuit wrapped in leaves that doesn't appear all that filling. Yet, as the Fellowship departs, they are told, "Eat little at a time, and only at need, for these things are given to serve you when all else fails. One will keep a traveler on his feet for a day of long labor, even if he be one of the tall men of Minas Tirith." So, just a small piece of lembas could keep a traveler satisfied, and the bread even lasted the entire journey, as Frodo and Sam finished eating their portions months later after reaching Mordor. The lembas is so perfect a food that it's clear some elven magic is required to bake it. Of course, as with much of Tolkien's work, he went into detail explaining how it originated, the origins of Middle-earth's magical food. Much of the Lord of the Rings magical foods originated from the Valar. They were powerful spirits who helped create and govern Middle-earth, and one such Vala being Yavanna, the giver of fruits and god of growth. It's said that Yavanna gifted a special wheat to the High Elves, and it covered their fields before the Dark Lord began laying waste to all of the lands. Melian, queen of Doriath, an elven realm, was the first to know the recipe for lembas. Using their magical wheat as a base, she told the knowledge only to those who were worthy enough to know such secrets. Although, as the wars against the Dark Lords Morgoth and Sauron raged over the years, the number of those who knew the recipe began to dwindle, and by the time of the Lord of the Rings, it's assumed only Galadriel and those of Lothlorien know the key to lembas bread, but as for where they get their magical wheat from, that is left unknown. It is also unknown why the elves haven't shared this secret with the rest of Middle-earth, especially since it could pretty much solve world hunger. But it can be assumed that little wheat, if any at all, is left, and that the elves see this divine gift as something that should only be gifted to the worthy. Either way, the lembas ended up saving Sam and Frodo from starvation, so it's arguably one of the most valuable items the Fellowship was given. All right, I mean, I can't argue that, right? It definitely was. It was important. In terms of why didn't the elves share it with the greater Middle Earth, because it could have ended quote unquote world hunger, as the article says. Although I don't think there's any mention of world hunger in Middle Earth, but I digress. Um, I don't know. I've never really thought like, oh, well, I'm not one of these people who reads something like that, Lembas bread and how it, you know, can sustain you and thinks, oh my God, they should have like shared that with like the entirety of Middle Earth instead of keeping it for themselves. That's kind of like messed up because now like, they could have stopped all the starvation that was going on. Well, exactly who was starving? Well, I don't know, but you got to figure somebody was. That's why they're always going to war, right? Probably because of food. And shut up. Um, I don't think like that. I'm just like, oh, cool. They have this bread that can sustain. Like you could have this one little biscuit and stuff like that, and if you can just break off a little piece and eat it, and that's going to get you through the entire day. I'm thinking that's like the ultimate like badass MRE, if you ask me, right? So, but I don't ever think in terms of why didn't they share it with the rest of Middle Earth? It doesn't make any sense. It was something that was unique to them and their culture and stuff like that. That's like that's like saying, okay, and again, see, because here's my thought when it comes to Lembas bread, right? Again, Tolkien, we know Tolkien was very religious, right? He was very into his religion, right? Let's say, interpret that how you will, but he was very into his religion, right? And so Lembas always struck me as sort of being, and this is just my theory, right? So take it for what it's worth. You could think that I'm totally full of shit here, okay? But I always kind of equated Lembas with almost like manna, right? If you know your biblical stories, right, you know that while the Jews were in exile, or what I say when the Jews' exodus happened out of Egypt, right, and they were in the desert, wandering the desert for 40 years, it was said that God provided them manna, which was this food. It was almost like a wafer type food, almost like a bread, like a thin wafer, right? That's what sustained them throughout their time in the desert, right? And this was supposedly given to them from God, and there's whole stories that discuss that, right? And I always equated Lembas as being sort of Tolkien's adaptation of that, right? Like this ancient gift sort of from the gods. But I never said, well, why didn't the Jews share that with the other tribes of people that were around them at the time? It could have solved all this fighting that was going on. I didn't think in that terms, and I don't think anybody ever thinks in those terms, right? So why would I do it with elves in a fictional world? That just doesn't make any sense. But I always assume, I should say, my theory has always been that Tolkien, he sort of dipped the pen into these aspects of his religion and his upbringing and his worldview, and he would sort of dip the pen in there, and then it would come out as something like Lembas bread, right? That's just my opinion. I could be totally wrong. I could be totally off base. Somebody in the comment section will quote something from some letter that I haven't read of Tolkien's, and where he completely says that he made Lembas up because his wife made him a PB&J that day. You know what I mean? Like, and that's fine. I'm not. I don't care either way. I just always made that connection when I remember when reading and reading about Lembas and what they were saying about Lembas in the books. I just remember thinking, oh, that's kind of like that story with Mana, during the 40 years of wandering in the desert. And I always found it interesting that you could see little hints of Tolkien's religion pop through, right? That's just my take on it. But anyway, I just thought it was an interesting article because it's not often that you get somebody not attacking, Tolkien, not attacking Peter Jackson's films, but literally just mentioning like, hey, the elves had this really cool thing, bread, but it was special bread. So I just thought it was an interesting article I'd share with you guys. So let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Before I go, I wanted to point out, for those who were on the live stream on Saturday, I was talking about the 3D printing and stuff like that. And yeah, so I managed to get this print done. This is small. I sort of half-sized it just to sort of but it's our boy Gandalf. It's a little bust of Gandalf there, right? And and again, my camera does not want to have the autofocus do its thing, right? I'm sort of trying to snap the autofocus here, and it's just not going to do it. Dang it. But anyway, I'll post some pictures over in the community section. But yes, it was a successful print of the Gandalf bust, although I did scale it. This is like literally only like 50% of what the actual size of it will be. So it would actually be a little bit bigger, probably be something like that, right? Because this I scaled this down. But anyway, just to let you guys know, for those who were interested, that it was a successful test print over the weekend. So anyway, all right, folks, let me know what you think of lembas bread. Would you like it toasted with butter on a PB&J? You know, ham and cheese, right? Some mustard, maybe some tuna. You know, what are your thoughts on lembas bread, right? And do you think it was sort of based on the story of Mana, from from his religion? Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. And that's all I'm going to do right now. Anyway, that's it. That's all I got for right now. Anyway, guys, if you like the video, like the video. If you feel like sharing the video, share the video. And gets us out there. It gets us seen. It helps us with the YouTube algorithm. And if you have not subscribed to the channel, I would hope that you would consider giving the channel your subscription. We are trying to grow the army of beautiful badasses. I'm hoping to hit 1,000 subscribers by the summer. That's the goal. Hopefully we can get there. We're moving. We're moving, but I'd like it to be faster. But yeah, so I would hope you would consider subscribing. And as always, if you are a returning subscriber checking out the video, thank you from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me that there are other folks that are willing to get together and we hang out and we chat and we have conversations and a good time and stuff like that. And we can all stand together in whatever's going on in the world. We can all at least agree that Tolkien and his work are something special and unique and need to be treated as such and respected as such and protected as such. So anyway, that's all I got for right now. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Remember to be good, be safe, be awesome, but more importantly, stay more darkish.